Masinya Attorneys Incorporated, a boutique commercial and taxation law firm in Midrand, Johannesburg, South Africa. Strategic lawyers on point with more than 20 years of practice experience. We are professional, capable, and qualified.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me right here in Solomon's Temple at this time of the day. My name is Solomon Izange Shams, and it's so good to be with you. I hope you're doing very well. You're having a lovely week, I guess. And I pray that everything, works out for good for you this week. If you're joining us for the very first time, thank you. Welcome to this platform where we get to discuss issues. We get together sort of like a biblical Christian way of thinking to issues. Because sometimes we might think we're Christians, but when we make decisions like non-Christians. When we say things like non-Christians. It's a fact. Because non-Christians' principles and values influences us more than biblical values and principles. Sometimes for some of us, it's a blind spot. So it's just a reality of it, isn't it? But thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, may I encourage you to please do so. I really appreciate you subscribing, and thank you everybody who's coming here. Peter rather is saying greetings. Patra is saying, let me answer this one before we start. He was right. Okay. We'll see about that. Great to have you here, Christine. It's awesome to have you here. Jean-Marie, hello. Thank you for coming in. Shumba is saying, if anyone disrespect my family, I will line up that person for sure. It would depend which language you understood. Jesus made whip. Okay. Well, you're gonna tell us why Jesus made a whip. Why did he make a whip? Who did he whip? Did he whip somebody who was saying things about his family? A lot of things have been said about the family of Jesus. Did you ever see him retaliate? Hi, Blandine. Good to have you here. Jabulani is saying, I think it's been arranged. Anyway, we'll look at it. We'll look at it. All right. So I want to discuss the issue of Will Smith and Chris Rock. Both actors, comedians, and they've had over 30 years of being in show business, like they call it in the US. And we've watched a lot of movies that was done by Will Smith and Chris Rock. They're talented, I don't agree with everything they represent, but they're both talented. And last night was the Oscars, and Chris Rock was one of the guest presenters. He was supposed to present an award, right? And Will Smith was sitting in the front row because he was nominated for the best actor by a male in the movie that he did around the life of the father of Venus and Serena Williams, the tennis stars. The name of the movie is called King Richard. So he acted as the father of Venus and Serena, because that was extraordinary to have two girls that you mentored and trained and brought them up to become some of the greatest tennis players of all time. It's an amazing story. So he did that, and he did a good job in it. So in the course of the awards that night, he was sitting in the front row with his wife, Jada Pinkett. So he's been married to his wife, Jada Pinkett, for I think close to 30 years now. And that's his second wife, right? Second marriage, rather. And about 2 years ago, she came out on a program on Facebook to say she and her husband agreed that she could see other people. So they lived in sort of like an open marriage. The husband can see other women, the wife can see other men. So she now fell in love, or had a entanglement, as they call it. She now had a sexual relationship with a young boy who was friends to her children. He's in his 20s. She's in her 50s now, I think. So you can imagine that. So I think that in itself showed the kind of like problem both of them do have, you know, or the kind of marriage that they're in. It's like, no, they can do whatever you want to do. They don't believe in traditional, conventional marriage and all that kind of stuff. I mean, fair enough. Everybody has a right to believe what they want to believe or do what they want to do. But last night, Chris Rock was making a joke about Jada Pinkett. I mean, we know this is not the first time he's making a joke, and they're comedians and they make jokes. Do I agree with every joke that comedians make? No, not at all. And he's making a joke around the life of his wife, that is Will Smith's wife. You can see her there. So she has a condition, you know, like an illness with her hair, where her hair, she loses her hair. You can see now she's gone bald, so she doesn't grow her hair because she keeps losing it. So it's a condition. So he makes a joke around it, saying that he cannot wait to see her in G.I. Jones 2. So G.I. Jones 1 was there, and it was a movie acted by Demi Moore, where she told she was not going to become a good soldier, and then she became a soldier. She became victorious and overcame a whole lot of hurdles and all that. And you could see that she's also bald. She doesn't have hair. So he was making that joke around it. Now, some people would say, that's not a good joke. And I think that's not a good joke too. But it isn't a joke that was offensive, right? And he was not joking you have to look at it in two ways. Some people look at it and say he was joking based on her condition, losing her hair, and she's gone bald now. And some people would say, no, he's not joking. He's actually giving her a compliment, saying that you're going to be victorious, like G.I. Jane. You're going to be victorious. You're going to be strong. You're going to overcome. But some other people say, no, you don't do that. You cannot speak about, somebody like that in that way. And what happened? Will Smith was sitting right in front on live TV, right? On live TV. And he walked to Chris Rock and he gave him a clap. I think Chris Rock was shocked. He gave him a clap and then walked back to his seat. And when he sat down, he was telling Chris Rock, don't you ever joke about my wife again. He was swearing, basically, also at him. He was using words that was just too explicit. Now, that was a shocker. Some people think this was scripted, but if you are a journalist like me, you investigate, you know that this wasn't scripted. If you think it was arranged or they were acting it, I'm sorry to tell you, this was not scripted. Because even afterwards, Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry tried to speak to him, to Will Smith, and calm him down. So, I feel Chris Rock was very dignified in that regard. What he did was criminal. What Will Smith did here by clapping him was criminal. Chris Rock could go lay a charge, and the evidence are there. You don't even argue it. You assaulted him. Chris Rock didn't retaliate. So here is a conversation. So the conversation for a lot of people is around, no, he was just trying to defend his wife. We need to defend our wives. We need to defend our families. And I agree with that totally. We don't only need to defend our families, we even need to defend strangers. That's the Jesus way. If you can only defend your family and not defend strangers, I'm sorry to tell you, as a Christian, that's not the Jesus way. The Jesus way is to defend anybody, even your enemies, because every life has a value before God. So he made a joke around your wife. You stood up, you went, and you clapped him, right? How do I defend that? In a way, I feel Chris Rock, his joke might be a bit distasteful, depending on how you see it. Like I said again, to be connected to G.I. Jane, for me, it's like a compliment, except you guys haven't watched this movie or you haven't followed that. So don't just read or believe what you see on Twitter or on social media and all that. Investigate first. But for people who, unlike me, who doesn't see it as a compliment, it's fine. You have the right to see it that way. You see it as very offensive. No, that's a man. He should get up and defend your wife. But how do I defend my wife? If my wife is in physical danger, I will defend her physically. That's my take. If my wife is in verbal danger, I will defend her verbally. If my wife is in an emotional danger, I would defend her emotionally, right? But here we have a situation where he felt his wife was in a verbal danger or emotional danger. But then he used physical defense, violent defense, because what he did there was violent. If I was a comedian like Chris Rock, I wouldn't joke like that, because I know Will Smith's wife feels very sorry. Also, as a wife, you feel sorry for yourself because you're losing your hair. Women love their hair and all that. So you would want to stay away from it. But what he did verbally, you now got violent physically. You know, I'm not sure you've read a little bit about Will Smith's background. He comes from a very violent home where he watched his dad, abuse his mother. So maybe he's coming back. And you know how their marriage has been. I feel Will Smith is in need of serious help, mental help, spiritual help. It's not normal for somebody who would go on live television. You go and claps somebody. The biggest night of your life. I mean, he won an Oscar. Congratulations to him. The first time in his career. The Bible says, you heard them say, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I'm paraphrasing now, but don't follow that way. What did Jesus do, when they came to apprehend him in the Garden of Gethsemane? When the Romans came with their swords and their spears, one of his disciples pulled a sword and yanked the ears of one of the guys. He said, no, we're not going to do that. That in itself is wrong. When somebody comes to you with a gun, but then you pull a gun and shoot them. But they didn't even try to shoot you. All they're trying to do was to arrest the man Jesus. You see, constitutionally, legally, that's wrong. What Will Smith did legally was wrong. Biblically, it was wrong. Would we say the same thing about Chris Rock? It's here or there. Chris Rock, like I said, showed a lot of emotional intelligence there. But Will Smith is in need of serious. Please pray for him. He's in need. He's probably going to crash very soon. He's been going this way for the last couple of years. And you see, you have to understand one thing with celebrities. The person you think you know is the person they want you to know, but you don't know the real person. They construct people. A lot of the celebrities that you see, musicians, actors, and all that, a lot of them are constructed. They are construction of a marketing plan to sell you something to make them look appealing to you. When you have an issue that has to do with a verbal way things were said, you deal with it verbally. You deal with it verbally. And the saddest thing is he won an award that night, which was great. And he came to give a speech and he apologized to the Oscars, the Academy, apologized to the nominees and other people. But he never apologized to Chris Rock. And you see, that would be the problem now. He would be known forever as that guy who walks on stage and claps somebody. Some people are saying this is probably going to be the downfall for him. Hollywood would want to stay away from him. And it might. He's not going to get a lot of opportunities that he would have gotten without this. It's going to affect him. Directors, producers would not want to work with him. People who watch movies, they would not want to watch his movie. Not everyone. I mean, there are people who still love him, who believe he was right. But then the sad thing also is now comedians are going to come after him and his wife. The joke around his wife is just going to be massive going forward. Because comedians will feel, you want to stop us from our job? You want to stop us from doing our job, from making life, making money? You want to stop us from doing that? Well, we're going to show you. And in a country like America, where it's all about freedom of speech, but now you're trying to shut somebody down by clapping them. Yeah, it's not going to be good for Will Smith, to be honest with you. Because when Chris Rock started making that joke, he actually looked at the wife and told her, hey, Jada, I love you, Jada, And he started making the joke and they were laughing until he saw his wife's face change. This is them when he was making the joke. See, they were laughing, looking at Chris Rock and laughing. Guys, the moral of the story here is, how would you react or respond? Would you react or respond when somebody says anything about you or your family member or your wife or your girlfriend or whatever? Because reacting is different from responding. Reacting is what we saw Will Smith do. Responding is what was missing. Responding would be, no, let him joke. I'll go behind and deal with him later behind the scene, and I will tell him to his face, don't you ever do that again. Or I'm not going to walk to him and clap him. I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to tell him from there, don't joke about my wife, but I'm not going to stand up, walk to the stage, live on TV, the world is watching, and then clap him. Yeah. It shows you that we're dealing with somebody who is out of control. We're dealing with somebody who has maybe so much anger inside of him. It's not the Will Smith. The Will Smith you see on TV or whatever is the one that they want to create. They want us to accept. He's a fun-loving guy. He's a funny guy. He's a warm guy. He's a family guy. He's a good marriage and all that. Until recently, everybody said, no, Will Smith and Jada, their marriage is the kind of marriage you want to emulate. But 2 years ago, she came out and said, okay, we are free to see other people. And I've seen other people. What would you do when you feel, and don't get me wrong, if the life of your family or your wife or your girlfriend is in physical danger, deal with it physically. Put your life on the line to defend them. That's the right thing to do. But don't act undignified when you get an invitation to be undignified or not to be undignified. Unfortunately for Will Smith, he behaved in a very undignified way. You can walk to him after the show and give him a piece of your mind, not to clap him. Now, Chris Rock came out cleaner because he didn't say anything. Even the police went to him and asked him, do you want to open a case? Because Will Smith broke the law. Do you want to open a case? Do you want to open a case so we can charge him? He said no. He went too far with this. He attacked your wife verbally by making jokes, and you were sitting in front, right? This is them. You were sitting in front. He attacked your wife verbally. Respond verbally. But no, it wasn't enough for you. You stood up. You walked all the way to the stage and give him a clap. And guys, all you guys that are saying this is acting and this is not real, this is scripted, is not part of the script. Go and do your research. It's not just, we can say, no, he shouldn't have clapped him in public. No, even privately, he shouldn't have clapped him privately. You're not supposed to clap somebody. You're breaking the law when you clap somebody. No matter how you feel about it. And trust me, the American comedians are going to ravage him. They're going to ravage. They've become the joke now. That's what it is. He just created content for comedians now for the rest of the year. Because now they would say, no, he's inviting people to walk on stage and clap us comedians anytime we make a joke about them. Danny here is saying Will Smith was absolutely right 100%. How dare you attack a man's wife in his own face? He did right there by setting an example for others to follow. That's not an example to follow. I would never do that. He didn't attack his wife physically. His wife was not threatened physically. Why should I do that? What am I trying to show? It shows that I have no emotional intelligence. It shows that you have pain. You see, guys, when somebody uses words to get you angry and you use your hand or you take a gun and respond or react, you would have the problem. He doesn't have a problem. He might have a problem, but your problem is bigger than his problem. The same thing we see in a lot of marriages lately, isn't it? You see a woman talk. So a woman will go cha 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 and gets a man angry, and then the man will use his hand on her. Who's the biggest culprit here? The man. Because whatever a woman says with her mouth, you're not supposed to use your hand on her. It's as simple as that. A lot of people said they should have actually told Will Smith right there. They call security, take him out of the hall. That's what they're supposed to. That's what they're supposed to do. And if they had done that, I would support that. Some people were saying they should actually take away the Oscar awards from him. They have the right to take it away from him. But for me, if you would come back and give a proper apology to everybody, he can keep it. Because you don't want an example. You're trying to endorse what he did. What he did was totally wrong. What Chris Rock did was wrong for some people, and it was right for some people. It wasn't offensive. He didn't swear at her. He didn't curse her. Wasn't profane toward her. It's as simple as that. Now, this is going to influence a lot of people to use their hands on other people. That's what it is. Violent. And no, guys, it doesn't work that way, especially the Jesus way. If you're on this platform, except you're not a Christian, right? Fine. But if you're on this platform and you're a Christian, the way Will Smith handled his business was totally wrong. Yeah, there's quite a lot of comments here. Tandy says, I think Will Smith was being childish here. It was not an attack on his wife making the joke. That's what comedians do as their day job. He should just stomach it at least till the end. Simple. Go and give him a piece of your mind later. In the end, the men must talk. We must still be united beyond this. Jada can't get mad. She put her man out there and now you don't have the attention, sadly. Honestly, that's not the kind of show to sit down to watch with young people around. Exactly. He needs to go for anger management. Exactly. A lot of young kids were watching. And do you know these guys make money from young people? Lots of American women love it, saying that's how a real man protects his wife's honor. How ironic. How can you go on? No, guys, let's do things the biblical way. It's as simple as that. Let's do things the biblical way. It's as simple as that. Let's not try to break the rules, God rules, and the rule of the country in the name of trying to defend people that we love, right? It's okay to defend people that you love. If his wife was attacked physically, I would recommend that he defend her physically. But his wife was attacked verbally. Stay at that level. Defend her verbally. Except you don't want to obey scriptures. For us as Christians, all these Christians who are defending him, then you're gonna do whatever and do things the way that you want to. Simple. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. God bless you, and make sure you subscribe. Shalom.